before we get started into all the juicy stuff, I'd just love to hear about you, man. Like how, kind of maybe a little bit of a backstory. What's your origin story, so to speak? How did you get to do what you do today?
Well, I believe it or not, I used to be a vote blue, no matter who Democrat up until Obama got elected into the president's office. And I voted for him the first time. And before his first term was up, I knew something was sus. And I really started digging into all this stuff. So I've actually been following politics really deeply for probably about the last, 12 years. And I just recently decided I'm going to start talking about it because it's getting too much. And the real news isn't out there for a lot of people to find. So I just wanted to be an extra source and give my opinion, because I've just been digging into this stuff for so long that it's like, wow, you can really see how it all works if you just pay attention. So but yeah, then I'd go live on Rumble twice a day, Monday through Friday, do a morning show and a night show. So usually at this time. So but we're over here hanging out with you. We forgot to do the X setup, but I'm just sending everybody over this way anyways. So
yeah, I appreciate that. Handy and I were talking off camera just before we went live, and I'd said when the first episode of Wagons West got zapped from YouTube because of medical misinfo, as we so like to do every episode pretty much. And so I started the Rumble channel, and he was one of the ones that caught wind of that and came on as an early supporter and follower, and so just returned the favor and just really appreciated that. So just excited to have you on tonight. Also, before we went live, we were just chatting a little bit of where we came from, and you had mentioned that you lived up in Washington and have moved now. Can you kind of talk about that a little bit and what the change has been like for you?
Yeah, we were actually living in the heart of the Pacific Northwest, right between Seattle and the state capital and a little town. A lot of people have heard of it because it gets bad a rep, but Tacoma. And we moved out there was about 8 years ago. And it was really beautiful. We fell in love with the area like almost immediately. So we had a little bit of a work that, we moved out there for Does Work. She's my co-host on the Night Shift News. She might pop in here in a minute. But we just fell in love with the area. We quickly found out, yes, there's bad areas and good areas like almost any major city. And it wasn't bad. There was a small homeless problem. And when I say homeless, I mean drug using junkies who choose to live on the streets because they think it's good. But there was a small problem. They mainly hid in green belts and areas. You didn't see it everywhere. But since COVID happened, it really has exploded, and they just started completely enabling these people. And instead of arresting them, they decriminalized possession, which I know has happened a lot up north there, and started giving out the stuff. They started trying to. They did everything they could to help these people except for get them off drugs, and it just became a complete and total mess. Crime rate shot up, and then they passed laws the police couldn't chase people anymore unless they saw them commit a felony with their own eyes. So the cops just basically sat around and waited for 911 calls, and it got worse and worse. Last year, I was assaulted by one of the tent dwellers that had set up across the street for the second time, and they'd already been run off before. And they actually have a map they give out to the homeless people in Tacoma, what they call approved camping zones. And our neighborhood was not one because we found a cheap apartment in the area with all the mansions. So we were kind of shielded for quite a few years. And then they just kept coming in, and open garages, anything you left on your porch disappeared, and lots of break-ins. And like I said, I got assaulted last year, and then just about 2 months ago, we went to go out the front door in the morning, 6 a.m. There's a guy sitting out there half dressed, getting ready to get high on our porch, like face to face with Duh. She's panicking, shutting the door shut. I'm reaching and trying to like, do I got to do something here? And she's like, no, there's a dude right there. So I yell through the door, I'm going to open this in a minute. If you're not gone, I'm doing something. He split. So, but yeah, it just got too rough. It's been crazy. And everybody's leaving. I tell you what, the people, Tacoma's still got an influx of population because people are fleeing Seattle, but Seattle has Joe Biden visiting today. So they bust all the homeless people. They rounded them all up and bust them down to their hotels they own in Tacoma, which they conveniently bought when COVID bankrupted them.
That seems to happen a lot, when you had President Xi there of China visit, was it San Francisco?
Yep.
They cleaned it up lickety split, and I guess the same thing happened today for Mr. Biden visiting Seattle.
Yep.
In November. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say the same thing happened when Biden went down to the border to actually go visit the border. The town that just the day before we'd seen videos of it just overrun was sparkling clean. So they do it anywhere these people go. No bad press.